All right, guys, we're back with a new video this week. We're at Michigan International Speedway this week for 65 laps in these 87s. So let's go ahead. We're going to break into this thing. I'll show you guys how to get around this, and then we're going to bust into what we found with all the different running that we did. All right, guys. So just as we've done week in and week out, we're going to go ahead. We're going to do a walk around of Michigan here. This is definitely the older scan. It is legacy, so keep in mind this place is bumpy. It eats your tires, all sorts of fun stuff. So we have to look at ways to manage tire wear as best we can without absolutely cooking them. We'll break down the setup here after we do our 2 laps, but I want to walk you around the place just so you've kind of got a vibe for how to race it. Now, as you come to the start-finish line, you can either be down below the white line or right here in this first lane, but once you hit the start finish, you're going to want to start drifting this thing back up towards the wall. This is going to set your corner and everything as you nail it down into one. But right about here, as I've went too far, so I got a little ahead of myself. Back it up. Oop, there's a wall. So you can see the dark spot on the pavement here just above the left front of the dash. That's usually a good spot to start checking up and getting out of the gas and things like that. So that way you've got enough time to slow the car down and hit your spot. Now, you have 2 options here. You can either ride the wall, use the Larson line. A lot of people say that saves tire, but to me, it puts a lot of heat, especially into that right rear, and we're going to cover why that's a bad thing here in a little bit. The other option is we follow the natural tire marks down through the corner. I like to do option 2. The whole idea, though, we're not going to bring it down to the yellow line. You'll see that in the next 2 laps. So we're going to go ahead and I'll kind of run you through. So you'll start kind of curving just past the caution light. And I like to bring it right about to this lane right here and not go below that seam, because as you transition that seam, you'll feel the car kind of do this, and it just upsets the car. So if you use that seam as your yellow line and then drift it back out ever so gently back to the wall, you'll do a lot better. Now, as we come down the backstretch, I like to leave it along the wall. You may catch a lot of people coming out of 2, depending on your exit speed and all that stuff. But right about here again, right where that starts to get dark, we start to brake. And we're going to do the same thing we did in 1 and 2, but we're going to bring it in a little bit more late and just use that seam as our yellow line, not going below it, because again, rough, it's humpy, you don't really want to hit it because it kind of throws you off kilter. But then just let the car kind of float out back towards the wall here, and then egg shape it back in and bring it across the start finish line low. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to walk you around this place. We're going to do 2 laps and you guys can see how I run it around this track. All right, so here we go for lap number 1. I'm going to bring it low across the start finish line. Let this thing start to drift back up, hard into the brakes, get it down right around that 155-ish. Easy back into the throttle, hard on the accelerator, bring it back out to the wall. And as we come down into 3, hard on the brakes, keep it up for just a little bit. Late apex that thing on through. Drift it back out to the wall. And again, we're going to bring that thing right on down to the line. Let it apex out. Hard on the brakes. Bring it right back down to that seam. Hard on the gas. Back out to the wall. Set this thing up for turns 3 and 4 again. Hard on the brakes again. Let it late apex in. Hard on the gas. Let it float back out. And you hear the tires screaming the whole time. Back down to the white line. And that's 2 laps at Michigan. All right, so now that we got our 2 laps done, key points to take away from this are going to be obviously tires. You're going to want to be smooth. You're going to want to be calculated with your throttle. Because you here, with the way that the track is, you can eat your tires alive rather quickly. So if you're in a mid to low split, try to manage your tires as best you can, and it will help you. You will go a long way with it. Now, we start out with the 12-to-1. Just like always, we did 20 laps on each of these. I used a very high entry, low exit, or I should say high entry, low middle, high exit to get around the track. So typical NASCAR flow to it. The 12-to-1, it felt tight, but it seemed hard on that right rear. And that's really not a good thing here. My fast lap was a 42.732. Right front wear was 93%. Right rear wear was 87%. Left front wear was 93%. Left rear wear was 94% with the right front temp of about 227. I did notice late in a run, if you tried to pick up the throttle just a little too early, it would feel like the car would float a little bit. So you're going to want to pay attention to that. The other thing is over time, go ahead and bring that brake bias down a little bit. That'll help you get your corner entry a little bit better. But it definitely did wear that right rear a little bit more, mostly I think due to the low banking and the fact that the track bar is hillbillied again for this week, and I'm still trying to understand why. But overall, you can make the 12-to-1 work, but I think I got a better option for you. I think that better option is going to be the 14-to-1. It feels smooth. My fastest lap was a 42.464, which for a place like Michigan, we're not really looking at fast laps. We're looking at consistent laps. It did tend to fall off less than the 12-to-1. The right front wear was at 94%, right rear at 88%, so we're up a little bit over the 12-to-1. The left front wear was at 93%, left rear wear at 94%, so overall fairly similar in that aspect, but our right front tire temperature was down to 222. Right rear temp was down as well on the 14-to-1 versus the 12-to-1. So obviously we're keeping the tires underneath it a little bit better here. So while it feels a little, I guess, lazy is the way that I would describe the way the wheel feels, I think long run, the 14-to-1 is going to be a little bit better of a setup for you. It's going to feel better. It's going to keep the tires underneath it, especially if you get an early caution. You don't want to take a set of tires too early. 65 laps, I would probably be looking at about, if you can pull it off lap 20 and lap 40, if the tires are staying on it quite a bit better, if you're seeing a lot of cautions, definitely later on that last set, because it's going to help you, especially on a restart if you get one late in the run. So the whole idea here is to take care of your tires and make it to the end. So on that note, guys, that's it for this one. Sorry we didn't do one for Phoenix. I'm just not that great at Phoenix, and I hate to give somebody some bad info. So again, thank you guys for watching. If you're new here, click the subscribe button, and we'll catch you guys at the races.